Even now I still question, am I an adult?
Hi, welcome back to our channel. I'm Victoria.
I'm Lucy.
So today we're going to be talking about something very exciting. It's basically transitioning from a college student or being a student into a full-time job, adulting. And Lucy here is going to be actually answering a lot of questions we have today because she has some experience transitioning and has a lot of great tips and advice she just wants to share. Today is going to be mostly her talking about her experience, and then I'm going to end off with some questions for her. I'll do a Q&A session. So to get us started, Lucy, can you give us some background about everything?
Yeah, sure. I went to school in DC for about 4 years, and then I started full-time about 2 years ago. I moved to New York City where I started my first corporate job. It was pretty interesting moving to New York City. I feel pretty old. Just want to go over like my experience moving to a new city right out of college, and just like what it feels like to have that whole transition.
So tell us about adulting, what your perceptions were at first, and what that actually meant for you.
Yeah, so I guess like going into adulthood, I actually don't know when you become an adult. I feel like that's such an unclear, undefined line still.
What? There's no transition?
I mean, they say you become an adult when you're 18, but like, do you really become an adult until after you graduate college or when you start your first job? Even now I still question, am I an adult? So it's really hard to know when that happens or like an exact date or so, I guess. But I do have to say, like, going out of college and into your first job is a very big step in that transition. For me, I guess I was super scared. I think excited, but also super scared because I was starting a job. Right, I've had internships before. I had experience. I've done like, work before, so like that was normal for me. But I've never done anything like full time before. I never worked in a corporate environment. I was like, I've been to New York, but I've never worked in New York City or a new city, and so that was like pretty scary for me just because it was like a first for me to do everything. Throughout college, like I had so many friends. I like have friends who went like through different steps with me, like were there with me through that journey, were taking those like hard challenging classes with me, and just like having them alongside. But when I moved away for work, I didn't have the same support system, I guess, because like we all eventually start doing our own thing, so like you don't always you're not always on the same track anymore. And so that was a bit challenging for me at first because I was scared, like, am I going to make any friends? Am I going to have a good time? Will I like my job? Will I like my coworkers? Like, there's so many questions about like, what if like it's not good? I was really sad also because I feel like it was just a new stage in my life.
No more college life.
Yeah, no more college, no more fun times, and I don't know, it's just like change, I guess. That's what also scared me, but it's also change is always good too. So looking back on it, it was scary, but it was also like exciting and new. Something new.
So it seems like your perception of college or perception of adulthood seemed like you should feel like there should be a transition, but at the same time it was more like all the things that happened along the way that actually made you feel like you're moving into adulthood. How do you think college has prepared you to transition into your career and also becoming more of an adult?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say that college really prepared me 100% for the job or the real world, but I think there's definitely skills that I brought from college that allowed me to become a better at what I do out of college. Like, one thing is like being very independent. So like I was already used to being independent. Obviously I had friends in college already, so a new city, it was challenging, but I already was independent, so I could take care of myself. It was like just a normal thing to do. So I think that's how college kind of prepared me. And some parts of it is just like having that strict schedule, like knowing that in college you have classes like maybe one at 8 to 9:30, one at noon to 2. You have like set schedules, so that allowed me to really put that set schedule into like the everyday life. You're working from 9 to 5 every day, or for me like 8 to 6, 7-ish every day. It's definitely allowed me to do that. And then also in college, I feel like what it was lacking was that it didn't really help me think too critically, because I think in college it was so structured. Like you were taking these classes, you had exams, and then you had like papers and finals. Like sometimes like in the classroom you do think critically, but I think in the real world you're not going to always know what the right answer is. You're not always going to be able to Google something and know 100% sure that that's the right thing, and sometimes it's a whole learning experience. And I think the biggest takeaway is that in the real world it's not expected that you know everything. It's not expected that you should like come in with the knowledge and everything, but you should come into it like wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to expand your knowledge.
Great. So I love how you talked about some of the biggest differences between like going to college and going to work. What were your first initial thoughts, like feelings towards like going into your job? What were some things in your mind? And then what do you have advice for people who are going through their full-time job to be more like calm?
Like going on, you have to have an open mind. Not always like create these scenarios in your head and how it's going to go, because it usually doesn't turn out the way you think it will be. You know, what I expected was that because I was in financial services and a corporate job, I think people were like very like type A or very strict, structured, aggressive. But that was very different from what I had experienced, what I actually experienced. Like people are actually super nice. I met so many great friends, people who were also in the same boat as I was, where they, you know, moved to New York for work. And so I think going on it, always keep an open mind that, you know, what your expectations are may not be the reality that will happen. And it's okay. Sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be bad. Most of the time it's usually good. Always keep an open mind going in on any experience. In college, it was like super flexible. Like some days you didn't have, I remember I just like put all my classes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and I was free on like Mondays and Wednesdays, always. So I almost had like a 4-day week for myself. Obviously I was working and I had internships and stuff like that, but I think that I had so much time in college that I just like sometimes didn't know what to do at the time. In a corporate job or any sort of job, like you're set, like you're working 9 to 5 hours Monday through Friday, you have the weekends off. So like for me, adjusting to that was pretty hard because I was exhausted at the beginning. Like at work you're always thinking, doing stuff, and then you come back home, all you want to do is rest. So like in college I didn't get that because, you know, you have so many free days and so much free time. You really have to consider your time and how you really only have the weekends to do stuff for yourself.
Yeah, I really love how you talked about how your perceptions of it was different from the reality of things, and then we actually started realizing once you actually started working. So then now that, let's say once you did start moving, you moved to New York, what were some of the things that you felt about living in New York, and what was your experience living in New York? And on top of that, what are some advice for people who are moving to new cities?
Yeah, my experience in New York was that, I don't know, it's an exciting place to be, especially when you're young and you're right out of college. It's a very exciting place. Everyone has like something going on there. That's what I really like about New York. I guess like from like watching all the movies, it's one thing, right? Or like going to Times Square is one thing. Gossip Girl is my favorite show in college, but you know, that's one thing to really see it from those perspectives. But it's really nice to know that like what you see in the movies is almost like reality, I guess, in New York, because like there are people who are, you know, who are trying to achieve something. People are going somewhere, and what I love is that like everyone has their own thing going on. You're gonna meet people in different industries who are different passions. And I remember having roommates that was a lawyer, another roommate that was, you know, an accountant, another one consulting. Like it was just like a variety of people coming together in search of a dream or a career. And so that's what I like. And there's so much to do in New York, honestly. Like, I mean, coming from DC, which is also a pretty big city, but New York City was so big. Like there's so much to explore. Even 2 years in like to this job and living in New York, there's like still so much more to do and so much more to explore that I have not explored. And I love food, so like New York is just a great place for like all the yummy desserts, all the yummy food, opportunities just explore the whole city, and so much going on in one place, and just like very vibrant. And I love being in that place. Besides like the work, there's just a lot to do, and I really enjoy that.
That's really great. And then you did mention earlier that you went into your job or to New York City without having like too many friends compared to like where you're in college when you're surrounded by all your friends and close group of people. So how would you go about like meeting new friends and finding people, or finding your group, or people you can hang out with that are different from like your college friends? How are you able to do that, and do you have any recommendations for people who are about to do that?
I was nervous. Like I was moving to a new city, didn't know anyone, especially a big city like that too. It's crazy to think that New York City, we have so many people are still a little like, you know, hesitant on making new friends. But I think that means that there's more opportunities to meet different types of people. I think for me, I was pretty lucky because my sister was there that same summer, so like it was like scary, but having her already there allowed me to really like be comfortable like being there. Like I didn't feel like I was by myself, and she also had friends there, so like, it was easy for me to meet new people. But also I was a part of like a college program at the company. The program really allowed me to meet new people globally throughout the firm, and so like that really helped me be able to engage and find friends outside of college. So it's like, you know, a lifelong friendship. But besides that, like, you know, if your work doesn't have some sort of program that I was lucky to have, other ways I've seen a lot of my friends make new friends is like through meetups. I've done a few of those. It's not really 100% for me because I feel like it's just very not organic. For some people it's like really fun because like you get to meet people who are in different industries, like young professionals. I went to one with one of my friends. It was like the Asian Young Professional Meetup. They do one every month in New York City, so you get to meet a bunch of Asians and that are young professionals that are in different industries, and then you get to chat with them. So I think that was pretty fun. But I think I enjoyed it more because I had friends that were there, and so that's what pushed me to go. Some people I know love doing that, and I think being in a big city like this, it really allows you to meet so many people with these meetup groups.
Yeah, that's really nice. I definitely think, yeah, especially in a big city like that, there's a lot of opportunities to meet people, not just, you know, through your friends or friends, but also like through big events like this, hosted by different organizations. Great. So one last question for you, Lucy, and that is, how do you find fulfillment and joy in everything you do day to day at your work?
I think the main thing is getting paid.
That's nice.
Getting paid is very important, but I think and something that I'm still even trying to figure out myself is really aligning what my long-term goals and happiness and what makes me fulfilled with my career right now. So really figuring out what my job is and how that can allow me to build that happiness and that fulfillment. And like I said, it's still something I'm trying to figure out. What's important is always, like, for me, is evaluating what I need to change or what I need to do to be able to get there. And I feel like that changes all the time because interests and passions are changing all the time. So like every 6 months or every month, I would reevaluate where I am, what makes me happy, and how I can get there. And so I think that's something that is constantly changing, and no one's saying that, like, you know, your first job is always going to be your last job, or your first job is something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So I think it's normal to have your passions and interests change, and it's a part of like everyday life.
I really like that. Yeah, it just feels like sometimes to get through your day-to-day, looking long-term and figuring out exactly what makes you happy and passionate about what you're doing, that's what you want to work towards. And that may not necessarily be exactly how you feel right now, but it's something everyone is working towards. I really like that. And if you guys have any further questions for Lucy, there's things that I might have missed and you're thinking about and want her to answer, definitely leave it in the comments. And if you really enjoy this video and hearing about Lucy's experiences moving to New York City, going from a student to adulthood, definitely give us a thumbs up, give her a thumbs up, and that she did a great job. And then subscribe to her channel because we're constantly releasing videos about career tips and traveling and also finances, like budgeting.